Rev up your engines! Aiden says, what do you think of the newer Honda V6 engines with VCM and idle stop? Honda makes good engines, but with the variable cylinder deactivation, all those Honda products, as they age, they get over 100,000, they'll start burning oil because of the thermal difference. You got one cylinder that's live, then one that's turned off, then one that's live. It doesn't heat uniformly. They warp. Some of them warp the pistons. I don't like it. And I hate idle stop on any car. I just find it an annoying pain in the butt for two reasons. One, it starts, it stops, it starts, it stops. But the main thing is, 90-something% of the wear of your car is when you start it. The oil drains to the bottom, then it starts, it's got to pump it back up to the cam. In the long run, not a good idea. Now, the manufacturers love it because it makes them look better for the EPA gas ratings, right? Then your engine starts burning oil when it gets over 100,000 miles. Then, well, you can buy a new car now. It's not in warranty anywhere. Yeah, you need to buy a new car. You know, they want to sell you a new car, right? Most of my customers that understand, they get the kits and they disable the variable cylinder management on all the V6 Hondas. And if they catch it early enough, they won't burn any oil. I would turn it off if I owned one. Victor Fernandez says, I'm from Norton, Massachusetts. I can't afford a Toyota Tacoma. So will the Nissan Frontier transmission hold up? I've had trouble with Nissan transmission. That's not a bad second choice. The Nissan Frontiers are decent trucks. Rear-wheel drive. The rear-wheel drive Nissan transmissions are actually pretty good transmissions. I had a guy bring me a Frontier the other day, 250,000 miles, still shifted fine, right? It's the front-wheel drive Jatco Nissan transmissions that generally were crap, and they're CVT front-wheel drive transmissions. Their rear-wheel drive transmissions, they're pretty good. All the Nissan Z cars, those are rear-wheel drive, and their transmissions are pretty good transmissions. So, no, it could be a good deal. Now, you're talking about a used one, you want a guy like me to check it out. But if you're buying a brand new one, no, they are decent trucks. Tallboy100 says, Scotty got an engine code P1604. Startability malfunction in a 2013 Corolla. I noticed some symptoms, but it still cranks and starts. Is it worth getting fixed? I have so many people bring me cars. I see Toyotas, and they run fine, but I hook up my big computer to show them what kind of shape it's in, because they want to know, should I keep it? Should I sell it? What kind of shape is it in? And I often get that code, startability malfunction, right? Sometimes it's just your battery's getting weak, so get it load tested. Any auto parts store load tests the batteries free, or if you don't trust them, you can go to Amazon, you can get a battery tester for $30. It works good enough for your use. You're not like me testing a million different cars. You're only testing your own once in a while, right? So it could be your battery's getting weak. But sometimes they just trip those codes, startability malfunction. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the car. In that case, you don't even care. It's not a code that will make your check engine light come on and you can't get your car inspected. It's not one of those codes, so otherwise, you don't care. But do test the battery. It may be starting to go off. Haji says, Scotty, how do we find good, honest mechanics in our area? Pray to whoever, right? I got a video, how to find a good mechanic, Scotty. Watch that on YouTube. I give a whole bunch of tips. But what it comes down to is ask your friends. If your friends know anything about cars. If they don't know anything about cars, don't ask them, because they could be ripped off. They'd have no idea if they're being ripped off, right? But you want to find an independent guy like me. You don't want to go to a chain store. They're just out there to sell you stuff. And the guy who's a service advisor gets a percentage of what's sold out the door. So, of course, he wants to sell you more and more and more and more stuff. It's hard to find an honest mechanic these days. It really is. But once you find one, tell all your friends. They'll all be happy. Then the mechanic will be happy. And if he's honest, like I've been for my whole life, that he'll have more business than he can handle, and he doesn't have to waste any money on advertising and all that crap. Bobby Covino says, California has the worst mechanics around. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Part of it, of course, is the standard of living. When I first moved to Houston a long time ago, in the 1970s, right? It was relatively cheap to live. Didn't cost that much. My house cost me $87,000. Things weren't as expensive. Rent on a garage wasn't that bad. Well, when I left 3 years ago, if a guy had a 2-bay garage, he was looking at $140,000 up a year for rent, for insurance, and for all this other stuff. So guess what? The prices of what they charge go up. Well, California, of course, has got all the taxes, all the business laws that they had, all the insurance they got to have. Who's going to pay for that? You as the consumer who goes there. And the problem with having bad mechanics that don't even know what they're doing is a lot of times the owners of the businesses, especially dealerships, big chains, they want to make all the profit. So they don't pay the mechanics much. In my grandfather's day, it was 50 cents an hour to have a car worked on. He was a mechanic. He got 25 cents and the dealer took the other 25 cents, 50-50 split. Now, maybe they're charging $180 an hour. I've seen $250 an hour in California. Mechanics are making like $17.50 an hour. So all the money is going to the owner, and the guys who are doing the work aren't making all the money. So you're not going to get a lot of quality people doing the work. That's just how it works. Well, winter's here, and here's something you might not think about if you buy an electric car. You know, they use LED headlights, right? Well, what's happening is a bunch of these electric cars are getting accumulation of snow and slush while you're driving, and you can't see because it blocks your light. The Chevy Bolts get accumulation of snow and slush while you're driving. On the headlights, you want to see, right? That's one thing people don't realize unless they live up north. I never thought about it in Texas, but up north, you got halogen headlights. They burn real hot, hundreds and hundreds of degrees. That melts the snow and ice, which is a good thing, right? LEDs are cold. They don't. People already claim that the Rivian R1Ts don't deal good with snow and it all fills up on it. It's just another thing with these engineers. What are they, in a dead zone? They don't have any brain cells left? If you're going to make a car like that, they should have put wipers, heated wipers or something on them to melt them. And you know it's going to build up. They obviously weren't even thinking about it. Look at the LED headlights. They look so cool. Oh, they have graphics. They do this. Yeah. But what if they break? The new Hummers that they got, right? The taillights on those things, if both of them break, it's like $5,000 or more to replace them because, well, they got computer graphics on them and they got computer systems inside the taillights. These engineers, they want all the flash. How about reality? If you want to see yourself when you're driving down the road, don't make a headlight system that the snow and the slush will freeze on it and then you can't see while you're driving down the road. They didn't even think of that. I mean, hey, don't engineers plan ahead anymore, you know? Form over function. Oh, look, it's beautiful. Can you make this have a scenery of wild horses running through the woods? No, how about headlights that work and the snow doesn't accumulate so you can see while you're driving through the snow, right? That might be a better idea. Well, the Greenies are whining again. People are talking about using hydrogen as a source of fuel or creating energy and hydrogen fuel cell. And now the Greenies are saying the indiscriminate use of hydrogen could slow the energy transition down. Of course, you can never satisfy the green people. They whine about everything. And they're saying, well, you have to look at the whole process of, what's behind this hydrogen, right? Well, let me tell you something, Greenies. Look at the whole process behind these electric batteries and wind generators you're pushing. They're extremely expensive. They cause a tremendous amount of pollution to make the lithium, to make the giant windmills. Then when they break, they got to get rid of them, and they break all the time. You jump on one bandwagon, don't start looking at the other bandwagon, so well, that bandwagon isn't any good. Who knows what's behind this? As I always say, follow the money. If you follow the money, you're generally going to find out what's actually happening. And in this case, what's probably actually happening is the people in the battery companies and electric car companies are pushing the Greenies to say, oh, no to hydrogen, not hydrogen, because of course the battery manufacturers and the electric car manufacturers have put all their eggs in one basket. Battery-powered electric cars and trucks, right? May not pan out, but they wanted to. So they don't want any competitors like hydrogen fuel cells. God forbid if the hydrogen ones work better and everybody starts getting hydrogen fuel cell cars instead of electric battery cars, which are kind of stupid anyways. But, they're always whining about something, right? Now they're whining about, well, the hydrogen, let's look into that. Hey, look into the batteries that you're pumping. They're polluting too. They pollute an awful lot. You think it's green? It's really not. Cisco Kid says, love your channel. I'm looking for a vehicle with a V6 or V8 that's cheap and reliable and easy to work on. What do you suggest? The Toyota V6 engines generally run forever. I had a guy bring me a V6 Camry. He had 240,000, still ran like a clock, right? Toyota learned how to coat their unibody vehicles like the Camry a long time before everybody else, and they don't rust. This guy brought me one that was 25 years old, lived in Massachusetts its whole life, and it still wasn't rusted out. So you don't have to worry about rust out. And the Toyotas, you can drive them forever. They're relatively easy to work on. They don't break down all that much. But that's what I stick with. I would stay away from V8 engines. Most of them get horrible gas mileage. If you're talking about like a V8 Lexus, they cost so much money, I wouldn't spend that kind of money on a car. You can get a V6 Toyota that can run forever. Or a V6 Lexus like my wife's. 20 years old and it still runs like a top. Dennis Vronin says, Scotty, I'm looking to get a motorcycle. Any experience with the airhead BMW 70s, 80s? Are they reliable? Unlike BMW cars? They were extremely reliable in those days. Those twin-cylinder air-cooled BMWs, right? They were great motorcycles. And unfortunately, the motorcycle company BMW followed the car company. And they make a lot of junk these days. Always thought they were great, they could run forever, not that much horsepower. And they kind of handle weird because they got those two big cylinders inside. It's kind of weird when they corner. Quite some time ago, they started making the BMW motorcycles like crap. The frames are cracking in half, the engines are burning oil. They don't make them like they used to. They used to be phenomenal machines, and they aren't anymore. But if you go back in the olden days, now you're talking 70s, 80s, those are dinosaurs. You'll have to have them rebuilt, new seals and everything, but they're worth doing because they're solid. You can still get parts for them. They were simpler. They had carburetors that anybody can work on with screwdrivers and carburetor cleaner instead of needing a fancy computer to analyze the fuel injection system. Being carbureted, the gas tank's up here. The gas just goes by gravity into the carburetor. They don't even have fuel pumps. Now, the fuel inject, they have electric fuel pumps. They cost a fortune. They're not that easy to diagnose. So yeah, maybe get one of those if you can find one in decent shape. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.